Let's face it, running your own interior design business can feel overwhelming. But guess what? You don't have to do it alone. I am so excited to introduce a brand new way to get the support you need. One-on-one mentorship with me, Laura Thornton, your interior design bestie. In just one focused hour, we'll dive into whatever you need most, whether that's pricing strategies, client management, presentations, attracting clients, building up a repeat business, or just getting out of the hamster wheel. You'll get clarity, strategy, and expert advice based on my 28 years of running a thriving business and over the last decade, a seven-figure design firm. This is your chance to get real answers to the questions you've been dying to ask from someone who's actually been there and is currently still walking the walk. Book your session as you need it. There are no strings attached. You'll walk away with personalized, actionable advice that you can implement right away. One-on-one, 1-hour sessions as you need it. Head to the website or click the link in the show notes to book your mentorship session, and let's build a beautiful, profitable business that you've been dreaming of together. Welcome to the Business of Beautiful Spaces, a podcast that's specifically for interior designers and decorators. This is the podcast for designers and decorators who love creating beautiful spaces, but also know that building a profitable business is what makes it all sustainable. Hi, I'm Laura Thornton, and after nearly 30 years in the interior design industry and building a seven-figure design firm, I know firsthand how lonely it can feel running your own business. Making big decisions without a boardroom, without a business partner, or another executive team member to walk things through. That's exactly why this podcast exists. Think of me as your interior design bestie, the place you come for honest conversations, real action items, and a clear to-do list that you can apply today to move the needle forward and improve your bottom line. And if you can't get the answers you're looking for here, one-on-one mentorship with me is always available because no designer and decorator should have to figure this out alone. My goal with every episode is simple: to help you build a more profitable, confident design business and propel you into sustainable, successful future. So let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Business of Beautiful Spaces. I want to begin today with a question. Do you ever feel as though you're working constantly, but your business is not truly moving forward? Are you serving your clients, managing projects, solving problems, supporting your team, making decisions all day long? You're busy, but the important work that could change the future of your company keeps getting pushed aside. Your pricing still needs attention. Your systems need some work. You know that you need to delegate. You need to improve the profitability or make a decision about your next hire. But there never seems to be enough time. So you tell yourself you'll get to it next week. And then next week becomes next month. And then eventually another year passes. That's exactly what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how business coaching can really help you break that cycle. And more importantly, I want to talk about the two paths that you can take as a business owner. And you can continue to try and figure out everything on your own. And you can learn through years of trial and error. Yes, absolutely you can. Many of us did that. Or you can find someone who has already traveled the road ahead of you and has allowed their experience to help you take you there faster, clearer, and with a more direct route. You still have to do the work. However, you do not have to do it alone. So let's discuss the first path, and that's what many of us naturally take. It's how we build our business through hard work, through our instincts, through determination, and willingness to solve whatever problem is out in front of us. And in the beginning, that is resourcefulness, and it is like essential. And you are the designer, you are the salesperson, you are the project manager, the bookkeeper, the marketer, or the delivery person. You are whoever it takes to serve your clients and keep the business moving. And that approach can take you a long way, but eventually the business should be growing beyond that skill, beyond that system, and the people that helped you start it. So the skills that helped you reach your first 100,000 year in sales are not necessarily going to be the same skills that take you to 250,000. And at 100,000, success may come from your talent, your determination, your referrals, and your willingness to do almost everything yourself and to take every single job that comes your way. But to reach 250, you need stronger pricing, clearer sales process, better systems, and administrative support. And at 500,000, the business changes again. Now you need to understand profitability, capacity, project management, delegation, team structure, and you can no longer remain involved at every single level. And that expectation that the company has to grow in a healthy way. So by reaching $1 million and beyond requires an entirely different skill set once again. And at that level, you are not simply managing design projects, you are leading a company. And you need to understand your cash flow, your forecasting, your hiring, your leadership, your financial strategy, if you have one, and how to build a business that does not depend on you for every single decision. And the people that helped you start that business may not be the same people that you need as you scale. So someone who is an excellent fit when you're managing a handful of projects may not be or may not have the right experience to manage a larger team or oversee operations or grow a growing department, let's say. That does not mean that they failed. It just means that the business has changed. And as the company grows and the roles become more specialized, the decisions become much more complex, and the level of leadership that is required from you becomes much greater. And so most business owners do not naturally know how to do all of this. Of course not. We don't know that. They don't teach us that in school, but we are often trying to learn at each new stage while we are already in it. And that's why working harder is no longer the answer. You need stronger skills. You need different support. You need a way of leading. And the person who built the first stage of that business must grow into the leader capable of building the next one. And that transition, let's face it, it can be difficult to make it alone. It's trial and error. We're figuring it all out. We're hope and a prayer, and our fingers are crossed that this project works better than the last one. So we think that because we created the company, that we should naturally know how to scale it. And so we continue to solve everything ourselves and make decisions based on incomplete information. And we delay changes because, well, let's face it, we're unsure and we don't have time. So we repeat the patterns for way too long, most people for years, because we're too close to the business to see them clearly. And progress happens, and it can be slow and it can be expensive. And let's face it, it can be absolutely exhausting. But that's the first path. And you can get there and you can get where you want to go, and you can do it much longer than necessary, or you can explore the second path, which is hard to do too in its own way. But it's when you begin to recognize that asking for guidance is not a weakness, it's a strategy. And imagine having someone help you who's beside you, who has already faced the challenges that you are experiencing. They have also underpriced projects and learned how to correct it. They have hired the wrong person and discovered how to define the right one. Then they made decisions out of fear, avoided difficult numbers, and created systems that didn't work. And they learned from those lessons, and now they were able to help you recognize the problem sooner. That's what a strong business coach does to help you build your business. They can see what you cannot see from inside it. And as designers, we all understand this concept really, really well. You can walk into a client's home and quickly recognize why the room isn't working. The scale might be wrong, the color is flat, the lighting is terrible, the layout is awkward, and a client has lived in that room for years. It's the exact same idea. You walk in, you can already see it. It doesn't matter what style they want to work with. You can already see how the room can be laid out better. You can see that it can look amazing if we moved the sofa over here. You can visualize within seconds what that space can be because of your experience, your expertise, and obviously that you're good at your job. That is the exact same thing with our businesses. We're too close. We've been working too long inside of it. We can't see it. But having an expert come in, just like walking into that client's room, they know when something's off, they can identify it, and they can help you build a company that is working for you. You may believe that you need more clients when you actually need better projects. You may think that you need more revenue when the problem is actually profitability, how you're charging and where. You might believe that your team is not taking enough initiative when they have never been given clear authority on those decisions. You may think that your pricing problem is caused by the market when really it's connected to confidence, positioning, and lack of financial understanding. When you diagnose the wrong problem, you spend years trying to fix something that may not actually be broken. And a good business coach, mentor, consultant can help you identify the real issue and focus your energy where it will where it will create the greatest results. And that has value. It is simply not about learning more information. We can all do that. We can all read the books. We can all do the things. It's about reaching clarity faster and being accountability and having an accountability partner, essentially, to make sure that you're doing the work. So coaching can really change more than the business. And business coaching can improve your pricing, of course, your profitability, your systems, and your decision making. But its impact goes much deeper than that. It changes you as the business owner. As your company grows, you need to grow with it. And the version of you who started the business may have succeeded by saying yes to every opportunity and personally overseeing every detail. But the version of you who leads the next stage may need to say no more often. Trust a team, understand the numbers, and protect time for strategic thinking to work on you and your business. And that transition, honestly, can be very difficult. And you may know that you need to delegate, but you still believe that no one will care as much as you do. I still struggle with that every day. And you may know that your fees need to increase, but worry that your clients will say no or push back. Of course, we're always worried. But you also know that a service is no longer profitable, but you feel afraid to let it go because it might lead to bigger projects. These thoughts, they can feel like facts because you've repeated them for so long. And a coach will help you separate what is true from the story that you have built around it. And they also will ask you questions that you've been avoiding. Are you making decisions from strategy or fear? Are you accepting a project because it's right for the company or because you're worried about another one that might not come? Are you delayed in hiring because the business cannot afford it or because you feel like you can do it and tackle it yourself? Or are you afraid to give up that control? Are you keeping someone in the wrong role because it's right for the business or because you're afraid to fire or it feels difficult? All these questions are going to make you a strong leader. And the goal of coaching is not to make you dependent on someone else. The goal is to help you become more confident, more capable, more strategic in your own decisions and thinking outside the box that you've already created for yourself. And I know when you're hearing me say this, you're like, that's great, but like coaches cost a lot, or I don't even know where to start. Well, I said all of those things to myself too before I started working with business coaches. And the investment question is real. And I understand why owners hesitate to invest in coaching. I'm going to derail a little bit from my notes here and just say this. When you started your business and someone asked you what you did at a function or a cocktail party or an event, what do you do? And you say, I'm an interior designer. Once you have owned a business, that should not be the answer that you have anymore. Because yes, that is what you were when you worked for somebody else and had a career. But now you're an entrepreneur. Now you're a CEO. Now you are a founder of ABC Design Group. That is the difference. It is no longer a job that you are getting paid to do. This is you are running a business and building and scaling a business. And yes, at one point you were an interior designer. I hope that makes sense. But this was something that was an aha moment for me because up until probably 10 years ago, that would have been my answer. And I had owned a business for a very long time. And I said, I'm an interior designer and left it at that. But the reality is, I am a founder. I'm the creative director. You can call yourself a CEO. You are doing way more as an entrepreneur than I'm an interior designer. So the investment question is real. How much will this cost you? Well, that's a fair question. And you should understand the investment and choose your support carefully. But now having experienced what the right coach can do, I look at that question very differently. I used to be afraid of the cost of investing in coaching because I felt like that was taking money right out of my profitability. And I wasn't as profitable as I am now, 20 years later. But that I would have been more afraid of not like now when I have the knowledge, I wish I did it sooner, like anything, right? Once you know, you can't unknow. And I have regrets about not doing a few things, but you can't because I didn't even know this stuff existed. I didn't know business coaching, mentors, accountability groups. I didn't know any of this existed, which is why I'm sharing this with you in case you don't know either. But now I would be more afraid of not investing in myself and in my business. I would be afraid of spending another year getting underpaid for all my hard work. I would be afraid of continuing to make decisions without the information I need. I would be afraid to remain bottlenecked while opportunities just keep passing me by. And I would be afraid of working harder and harder without building a profitable, sustainable company that I actually wanted. And the cost of coaching is visible. The cost of staying stuck is often harder to see. It may appear as lost profit, missed opportunities, hiring delays, unnecessary stress, years of trying and spending way too much time solving problems that someone else could have helped you understand so much sooner. They can it can also appear as building the wrong team or keeping people in roles and the business is outgrowing them. But coaching cannot guarantee that you're not going to make another mistake. You will make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I still make mistakes. The goal is not to avoid every mistake. The goal is all right, quick pause, because if you've been telling yourself that you're going to figure out AI when things slow down in your business, you need to hear this. Things are not slowing down. And if you felt that low key pressure like you're falling behind, it's not because you're not capable. It's because you're super busy running your real design business and you don't have time to become the tech person that you think it requires to keep up. So here's the good news. You don't have to understand everything AI can do. You just need a clear starting point, one that begins at the very beginning and walks you through step by step in a way that makes sense for interior designers. And that is exactly why I created the AI ChatGPT Made Simple and the Claude Made Simple guides. These are practical, no overwhelm guides designed for interior designers who want to start using AI confidently and without getting lost in jargon or random tips that we all get through social media. And when I say from the beginning, I really mean it. We start with the basics like words, chat, the GPT, GPTs, chatbots, LLMs. What do these actually mean? So you can feel grounded instead of confused. Then we walk you through step by step how to create your own role-based AI assistants for your business so you can build the support that you wished you've had for decades. Think a client communication assistant, a studio manager, a marketing coordinator, a project support helper, the roles you need most. And to make it easy, I've included plug and play prompts, simple checklists, and oh, I didn't even know I needed that, assistance for the things that eat up your time each and every week. So here's what happens when you have a plan like this. It gets so easy, you'll honestly wish you had done it sooner. I'll have one guide for ChatGPT and one guide for Claude. So you can start today with whichever tool you feel more comfortable with. And once you're comfortable, there's also a part 2 to the guide that shows you how to go deeper so you can unlock real time savings, real efficiencies, and business changing workflows that make you wonder how you ever ran your design studio without it. And guess what? Each guide is only $27. That's it. And I'll say it plainly. It will pay for itself within the first week you start implementing AI in your business. It'll pay for itself in the first hour of you using AI in your business. So if you're done feeling behind and you're ready for clear, designer-friendly starting line, grab AI Made Simple for ChatGPT or Claude Made Simple and start building your AI team. The link will be in the show notes. Don't bookmark it and forget it. Start now. Get your time back. All right, back to the episode. To avoid having to make every possible mistake all by yourself. There's enormous value in having someone say, I have seen this before. Have you considered ABC options? And here's a question that maybe you're not asking. And then they can reframe it. And all of a sudden, it's so clear. It's just so clear. But of course, you weren't going to get there because that's how your mind is wired. And you're too busy in the business to work on the business. That insight can shorten your learning curve and take so much effort that you've been focusing on. So that coaching, that mentoring, that accountability, it creates space. And one of the greatest beliefs and benefits of coaching is that it creates protected time to think about the business instead of consistently just reacting. And most designers already have some idea of what needs attention. We all know where we want to work on our business, and the challenge is making the time to do it. There is not a client that is going to call and demand that you review your pricing strategy or calculate the profitability of your last 5 projects or reconsider the structure of your team. That work is important, but it rarely feels urgent. So it gets postponed. And a coach brings you back to the commitment that you made. And they remember the goals. So they will ask you what you have completed, what got in the way, and whether your current actions are supporting the company the way you want. And that accountability, it really does create movement. That coach cannot do the work for you, but they will help prevent the excuse me, but they can help prevent the important work from disappearing underneath that urgent work that we always will find that's more important because it's paying the bills and our clients are asking us to do it. So let's move on. How do you find the right support? Because not every coach is the right coach for you. I've had a couple. Um, One really stood out. One was really great at the time that I needed that coach, but now at the business scale that I'm at, that coach wouldn't be able to help me anymore. So, but I connected. I was at an event. I knew that that was the right person at the time. I felt that I understood and this connection. I was like, I was having aha moments left and right. So someone that can help you start a business may not be the same person that can help you scale one. So that's really important to remember. You don't have to just stay with somebody for obteen amount of years. Sometimes it's just quarterly help. Sometimes it's just a problem. Sometimes it's bi-monthly or bi-yearly. These are the things that you have to decide by value, but the support that you needed at making 100,000 is going to be very different than what you need at 500,000 or $1 million. And your coach should understand the difference between the revenues and the profits. I really find that interior design is a really nuanced area. A lot of people don't understand how our business works. So there are lots of business coaches in our world that are still walking the walk and doing the talk, meaning they're still working as designers, which I think is really important because the last 10 years, or even since COVID, our industry has changed so colossally that if you haven't been working in the last 6 to 7 years as a designer, you've been left behind between AI, demands, pricing. There is so much that has shifted and changed that if you're working with somebody who specializes with interior designers, you make sure, in my opinion, that they still work as designers. Yes, there are business coaches that just work on businesses and they have a huge value too. And it'll always be relative depending on where your business is. But I think your coach needs to understand our business to really grasp the way that our business works, because most people might be selling a product, or if it's a service that can be done and wrapped up in one visit. Ours can span from 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, a year, or 2 years. I have projects that are 2 years old. And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to understand. So sidebar there. But I want anyone that you're thinking about working with, they should listen before offering any advice. They should ask thoughtful questions and they should explain the reasoning behind any recommendation. And trust. Trust matters. You need to believe in the person that is going to be able to help you. You need to be able to talk about real business, not the polished versions you present to everybody else, and feel comfortable doing so. You need to be able to say, I don't understand this, and I would love for you to explain it further. Don't be afraid. Make sure you ask. Or I know what I should do, and I've been avoiding it, and they're going to help you work through that. That kind of honesty will create progress. And industry knowledge, as I mentioned, has incredible value because our business is so unique and we are capturing creative work. We all know creatives can be very difficult, but our long timelines, our procurement, our clients' emotions, so many relations, vendors, contractors, custom products, delays, damages, all of this is within one project, and a general business coach may be able to help you sell or market, but someone who understands interior design may ask whether selling more of current services will increase your profit or simply create more work, because they understand the business. And that distinction will really matter. And one of the reasons I did create the Profit Academy for interior designers and this podcast was because there are so many incredibly talented designers. But many of us were never taught, most, like 99%, don't know how to run a business. And why would you? We didn't go to school to run a business. We went to school to become interior designers. And we learned how to design beautiful spaces, absolutely. And we were not necessarily taught how to price, how to hire, how to delegate, forecast cash flow, manage profitability, or lead a growing company. Because those, though, thankfully, are learnable skills. And you simply need the right education, guidance, and support for the stage that you are entering. Okay, so let's talk about what the other side can look like. Imagine understanding exactly what projects are profitable and having fees that reflect the value that you provide. That sounds pretty good, right? Imagine having a client process that is crystal clear, a team that understands its responsibilities, and the right people in the right roles. That doesn't suck. Imagine having a business that does not require your approval for every single decision. Not too shabby. You have time to think. You have time to create. You have time to lead. You are no longer chasing every single opportunity because you trust that the business that you have built is working. You make decisions based on strategy instead of fear. You can step away for a day, a week, how about 2 weeks vacation without everything falling apart. Now that's a good feeling. It's a hard thing the first time you do it. And once you do it, it's the best. And the business feels healthier because you're becoming a stronger leader. There will still be challenges. Absolutely. It is not just like rainbows and butterflies on the other side of this, but coaching does not remove every problem from the business, but it'll help you approach these problems with a plan, with framework, and a trusted perspective. That is the transformation. So this week, that one goal that would meaningfully improve your business over the next 12 months, write it down and then ask yourself, what is truly preventing me from reaching this goal? And is that an obstacle, a fact, or a story that I keep telling myself? What are the skills that the next stage of my business require from me? Do I have the right people around me? And who is ready? Who has already accomplished what I am trying to do? Who should I be reaching out to? And what would another year of delay cost me? That's a big one. Do not leave these questions floating around in your mind. Write them down. Clarity begins when you stop trying to carry the entire business inside your head. Then consider the kind of support that you would help you to move forward. It may be a coach, it may be a mentor, it may be a consultant, it could be an industry-specific program. But the important thing is to stop believing that you have to figure it all out alone and that you're going to invest in you and your business for a better outcome a year from now. There is no prize for building the business the hardest way possible. Investing in your own growth is an investment in your entire company. And when you become the stronger decision maker, your pricing improves, your confidence goes up, your team receives better leadership, your clients experience a better process, your goals become more focused, and your company will be healthy. And the right coach cannot build the business for you, but they can help you see the path clearly and reach a decision through faster, more direct route. You still have to take the steps. You simply do not have to take them alone. So before I go today and leave you, I have one small favor to ask. One, there are thousands of you that listen every single week, but you don't hit that follow button. I would love it if you could follow, or if you would help me out by leaving us a rating, so on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to this, because anyone else that can find and learn and grow their business would be a huge favor to me. And it gives me purpose for doing this podcast. But I would love for you to help me out if you could. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thanks for spending time with me this week. I hope you find this helpful. I hope that if it's not me that can be your mentor or your accountability coach, if you can find someone that you connect with that will, because it will really make your business move forward faster. So in the meantime, keep creating beautiful spaces, keep building better businesses, and remember that asking for support does not make you less capable. Sometimes it is the most strategic decision a great leader can make. I'll see you next time on the Business of Beautiful Spaces.